I'm back, and for this talk, I'm going to use the ring toss again. So I'm going to be looking at a few points based on the internet and one point of my own for a short discussion. So the 1920s, as I said the last time when I used the ring toss, it's here. Ring toss. Um, um, Circumstances conspired against me, and I could not get back my 20s, 30s, or my 40s. Here goes. But I got the 50s. So I'm in my 50s. And here goes 20s. Are we going to talk about the 20? This did go. This side, 20s. Oh no. But it sort of went right in front. Right in front of the 20s. So 20s. 20s, now the 1920s was the time when Canada saw women's rights make significant advancements, including the right to vote in most provinces. And the first woman was elected to parliament, and so the I think the Persons Act, as women being considered before that, women. I'll just look this up and give you the right picture. 19. I've come to my 1920s line. 19. Oh no, I have the wrong. Quickly, because it's key to what I'm going to say. Derogatorily about my favorite sex, the opposite sex. All right, despite the fact that I'm a woman dedicated to the furthering of the female sex, or that they've changed it. The Persons Act, or they've gone to roaring 20s. Okay, they've gone to roaring 20s. I think the Persons Act, and my point was if women were, classified as persons from the 1920s, but I'm not sure. This you have to research, all right? So from the 1920s onwards, so until then, they were just, you know, uh, 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 humans who were accessories to men. Men looked good with them. So there's that to be considered. All right. So and in the 1920s, in 1928, I believe, D.H. Yes, I have it written down. D.H. Lawrence's Lady Chatterley's Lover was written. Canada banned the book, and it actually went to the court, Supreme Court, and at some point in time, and these on my created videos in my YouTube webpage, I have these. I have a video on this, and it was as I have on feminist women and feminist men. All right, I enjoy watching it. It's just one line of writing and a picture. Lady Chatterley's Lover was banned because, and as in Eye of the Needle, Ken Follett's Eye of the Needle, which came after during World War II, and I let you watch the movie all by yourself, not spoil the whole story, but by giving you not all spoil your experience by giving you the whole story. So the key factor in both the books were that the men were completely unbearable. They had become, I guess they had reason to be, but nevertheless they did not want their wives to enjoy themselves after having seen to it that they sacrifice their own desires to look after the husbands. Perhaps the men were rich, all right, that was a factor. The women could have left them. In Eye of the Needle, she has a child, she has a son. But in Lady Chatterley's Lover, no child. So she has a lot of property, but no rights to the money. The husband controls the. Sound familiar? No. I'm not talking about myself. In general, in general, Androlka's husband controls the money, but sometimes. But many times, and this is a factor that I'm learning over the years, slowly, sort of through feedback from the men who are as impoverished in certain ways as I am, have money to spend, but not a lot of money. So I played fair. All right, I put in all my earnings in the joint account that I have with my husband, and in his own way, he's played fair, and but never a good word for a buy and that sort of thing. He's okay. I mean, he's and that should be right because he's feminist as I'm feminist, and that's the right way to live. But he could be a little. But there are good sides to him too. As I said, best of husbands, worst of husbands. All right, so he too. A lot of my friends apparently have not spent at all. They've collected. They're really rich. And does it occur to you in the suburbs? Everything is cheaper. Mortgages are cheaper. So these women could fund. It's a scary thought. I don't even want to voice it. Could fund, you know, you figure out the possible implications of this scenario, the situation. They could fund terrorist acts, right? I mean, guns, they have to be funded. They're expensive. How do these terrorists get all these from? Where do they get them from? Think about it. More movies themselves, fake guns are themselves quite expensive. Can you imagine, but US it's cheap, but not $10, $20. So, so these women have a lot of money. They've earned all their lives, and maybe less than me because in industry I was paid $47,000, and I earned this for 3 months, and then went on employment insurance from my previous job, and so that was uh, a lot of money. So maybe a little less, but consistently for so many years. So and they do not spend. In some ways, they're very fortunate, but Cronus, was he the rich man? He spent. Cronus spent. Uh, anyways, so moving on. So that was my point. Lady Chatterley's lower, and but um, she made progress. So women could seek out sexual orgasms with the lower classes if they wish to, and the 1920s. That was the beginnings of liberation, as you should look at it. 30s. All right, all right, I got one in the 30s, 1930s. All right, and from the internet, 1930s Canada, while women had gained the right to vote, their rights and opportunities were still limited, particularly during the Great Depression, which led to legislation barring married women from government jobs and a focus on men as breadwinners. And this, again, the point I was making is relevant to this point as well. So men have to be breadwinners because if women may not play fair, and what do you do if you have had a child? Raising the child is part of playing fair. So you let the other portion of the not being fair go. So there's a lot of rich women out there. So they leave funding for your scholarships and things like that. And if you have a bit of narcissistic streak in your own name, normally you choose somebody who's special. I would like to choose some of my professors. Who knows? It need not be millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars. But leave a or I keep it for myself. Why do I need to leave these future students money? I'll host a dinner. All right. Yeah. So 1930s, Gone with the Wind showed a woman being in the cups a bit too regularly. Scarlett O'Hara had a tad too much of a desire to liking for whiskey, and that was accepted. Rhett Butler was very liberal, and he said a woman could drink. So that was, I guess, yes, tick mark for women's rights. And 1940s, 40s. Let's see where the ring goes. We don't even have a 40. There's no 40 in the ring toss, but there's a ring in front of both the 20s. So 1940s are an A-OK, and during the 1940s in Canada, women's rights saw significant advancements, including Quebec finally granting women the right to vote in 1940, and women entering the workforce in large numbers to support the war effort, taking on roles previously held by men. So that was the 1940s. And what do I have? I thought of a dress. What could be a dress in the 1940s that revolutionized fashion as we see it today? The dress, the new look by Christian Dior, had rounded shoulders, a cinched in waist, and an A-line skirt. So kind of like this, which was very pretty. And you see all these movies where all the heroines are, walking with, maybe they have flounces in these days because nobody stitches A-line skirts so very well, mostly pleated skirts. So Christian Dior, well, House of Dior has been around since the 1940s. So fact to chew on. So 1950s. Is the ring going to go? Oh, 50s. Bingo. 1950s. So let's go here. And 50s. What else did I see? I have 1950s. In 1950s, Canada. 1950s Canada, while women's roles were largely defined by domesticity, there were also advancements in women's rights, including the passage of legislation aimed at fair employment, oh, nice, and equal pay, as well as establishment of a women's department within the Department of Labor. So that, equal pay, well, heading towards there, it took a long time, and it's here now. As Lilly, in the US, the Lilly Ledbetter bill, and in the government, I think, but you shouldn't carry too far. I mean, there are people who work very hard, and equal pay for equal work is a very generic term, so to speak. If you get into specificities, then maybe there would be a disparity between the men and the women. But just because I come back, try as I might, I couldn't have worked till 9 o'clock. All right, when I was working, because I had to come back to my son before that graduate school. I used to work sometimes, but I had to come back and cook. And I think once my husband visibly got upset, and I was coming back after handing in a process control assignment. I mean, how blameless a pastime could I have had? And he hit the ceiling in his own way. Had to have his dinner, but you have to remember he had worked till 9 o'clock. So something, he was not out there. But there were those times when he used to be drinking with his buddies. Beer. Well, anyways. So my point for the 1950s, I looked up movies for 1950s, famous flicks, famous. And there was Vertigo, the 12 Angry Men, which are North by Northwest, and then another Hitchcock movie, which was Rear Window. Grace Kelly was really good. So heroine-oriented roles, but the heroes have a good chunk of the cinema time as well. And in Vertigo, the heroine is beautiful, but she is a bad woman. So that, and the man, is as played by Jimmy Stewart, and she's Kim Novak. Watch the movie. I won't spoil the ending, but she's a bad woman, and I think I spoiled the ending. well, it's a broad definition. Bad. There are women who are not actually ever, caught in a bad act, but they could be bad women, and broad definitions to this. So there we go. And 19 and well, I had to say, I had a point to me. Maybe it'll come to me in the next video, which is a song and dance video that I'm going to present. Uh, all right, and the 1920 slang, cat's meow. We used to use this a lot. You're the cat and that sort of thing. And in the 1920s is a person who does things well, sort of a thing. I think cat's meow. You can look it up. All right, signing off. Thank you, Gayatri Visitara.